arrived at the Eastern Conference Finals. The 5th seeded Atlanta Hawks team surprised many people, upsetting you could call it upset. They upset the 4th seed New York Knicks, and then they really upset the number 1 seed with the Philadelphia 76ers, something a lot of people didn't see coming. I'm pretty sure everyone just assumed the 76ers had to punch their ticket once they got that number 1 seed to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think anyone assumed that the Hawks or the Knicks would be making much noise, but here they are. And on the other side that awaits them, the number 2 seeded Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee got to a promising start once they swept the team I believe they swept them last year in the Miami Heat. They dominated them. They fixed a lot of the things that they had going wrong for them, that they were able to make the adjustments. They had the mental toughness and they had the will to advance. And then almost immediately, all of that got immediately thrown out the window once they played the Brooklyn Nets, and people continued to see that, they still have the same exact flaws, mainly struggling to make adjustments, no matter how obvious or easy they were. But then we saw Kyrie Irving go down, James Harden was injured, and they were able to claw their way back to make it a series that was probably closer than it really should have been. But nonetheless, they won. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter if you won by inch or a mile. Every season has their injuries. Every season has a set of circumstances. But they overcame the circumstances they have. But for some reason, there's still a bit of question marks for the Milwaukee Bucks. And there's still a lot of pressure on them. Right now, it is do or die time for Mike Budenholzer. He has absolutely zero reasons to lose to this 5th seeded Atlanta Hawks team. But Mike Budenholzer is Mike Budenholzer, and for that very reason of his stubbornness and inability to make adjustments, I can easily see this deep and complete and dangerous Hawks team making this a very competitive series. There's a lot of matchups they can exploit to even potentially win this series. Who would have thought we've been saying that? Hell, midway through the season when this team was 14-20, I don't think anyone saw this coming. So if you're an Atlanta Hawks fan, there's a lot of things you can look forward to. Mainly, that center position. They have a lot of length and they have a lot of athleticism there with Clint Capella and the number 6 overall pick from USC. I'm not going to bother to pronounce his name. I definitely can't do it. But you know what I'm talking about. Their length and athleticism will allow them to build a wall that we've seen everyone do, to be honest, that Milwaukee Bucks still haven't completely figured out a way to negate those effects. And we've seen that Brooklyn was able to do this very well, which much shorter and not as much length at that center position with Jeff Green and Blake Griffin. They still have some good results with it. You can definitely look to see towards the end of games that they throw this out there, and you can expect some much better results if the Milwaukee Bucks still shown they cannot adjust to this. Also, you can definitely expect Trae Young to be killing this Milwaukee Bucks team with his floaters. It is the year 2021, and the Milwaukee Bucks are still allowing Brook Lopez to play drop coverage on pick and rolls. Listen, if I see this in game 1 against Trae Young, if I see drop coverage in game 1 against Trae Young, Mike Budenholzer should be fired on the spot. Immediately, no questions asked. You just midway through that game, you need to come down from the owner's box and just relieve Mike Budenholzer of his duties. That's just completely unacceptable. No reason for this to be going on still. Not against Trae Young. Also, they have shooters, man. They have some shooting depth. They have a lot of guys, a lot of versatility in that lineup. They can give this Bucks team some fits on defense. When you have shooting like that from almost every position on the court, you're just a dangerous team to guard. They have shooting and they have athleticism, especially with John Collins. I forgot to mention him. He can also help build that wall against Giannis. These are going to be problems that the Bucks have to deal with throughout the entire series. But on the flip side of things, there are a lot of things that the Milwaukee Bucks can take advantage of too. Mainly the way they can defend Trae Young. They have Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and hell, they even have PJ Tucker to throw at him. These are great defenders, especially Drew and PJ. But on the flip side of things also, unlike any other team that the Atlanta Hawks have faced, the Milwaukee Bucks can actually attack and go at Trae Young and make him work defensively. For this entire playoff run, Trae Young has had no one put any sort of pressure on him. He's able to just camp away, guarding whoever, whenever. If you look at the Nets, Derrick Rose did not attack him for some odd reason. I don't know, Tom Thibodeau decided we're not going to attack Trae Young. They allowed him to rest. And with the 76ers, no guard was ever really attacking. No one to worry about, except maybe Seth Curry was the only guard who can even attempt to create his own. But for the most part, he was on Danny Green, Matisse Thybulle, and Ben Simmons. We know Ben Simmons wasn't shooting. But Drew Holiday, he can play like a big guard. He's a very physical guy. He will attack Trae Young relentlessly. They will look to score on him, or at least they should look to score on him. Because if you remember, they had James Harden on one leg, and for some odd reason, they decided not to attack him, and they just let him play best. They just let him play and just said, all right, let's not go after that guy. Let's just isolate on literally everybody else. But the Bucks also, you also have the best player in this series, so that's always a plus in Giannis Antetokounmpo, but also his length and Brook Lopez's length. They should be able to stop a lot of the lobs between John Collins and Clint Capella, so they should be able to control pretty much the airspace, or how Steve Kerr calls it, the vertical spacing. They should have that on lock. They should also be able to control a lot of the rebounds that Clint Capella gets. With Giannis, he should be able to nullify that. But it's going to come down to adjustments, really. The way they attack the pick and roll is going to be crucial. I think Brook Lopez should see his minutes cut severely, and we should see a lot more Giannis Antetokounmpo at the 5 position. Make him guard Trae Young off that pick and roll. He should be able to step up. He should be quick enough, and he has the length to contest those shots on Trae Young. I'm not saying you can do all series or all game, because of course with Trae Young, he's prone to getting fouls. He's good at drawing them. So I don't want to see Giannis constantly defending on the pick and roll. But you gotta throw different bodies out there. You can't just let Brook Lopez do what he does, drop coverage, hope that he's long enough to block the shot. It's not gonna work. Now with Trae Young, he's too crafty in that pick and roll. But if they don't make these adjustments, Mike Budenholzer is going to get fired. Which, if you're your Bucks fan, may not be the worst thing. You lose this series in the Eastern Conference Finals. Mike Budenholzer gets fired. Probably makes your team better. But listen, if you're the Bucks, this is the chance. This is the best chance you have for at least 2 years. No, Brooklyn was not healthy this year. This is your chance. Get yourself this ring. That changes your entire landscape. Because if you lose this series, I don't know if you're beating Brooklyn next year. The reality situation is they kind of got lucky. So you got to make sure you secure this. And you got to at least get yourself a chance to get to the NBA Finals. That's all. That's all I pretty much got to say. If I had to make a pick, I'm going to say the Bucks win this in 6. I think Giannis, I'm just going to go, Giannis is the best player in this series. I think he gets it done. I think he knows what he has to do. And they win this series. As always, this is Greg, signing off.